I'm getting this set up to do some quilt cards tonight. Let me find us on my computer so I can keep up with the chat. Let's see. Should pop up here any minute. Come on, go to the live. There we go. Here we go. Make sure I got us muted. Thank y'all for being here with me. I'm getting really fond of just kind of hanging out in my craft room, having y'all pop in and visit, chat for a little bit, and just craft along. So I appreciate everybody being here. If you've heard me say in some of my other videos, you know that I love to do any kind of crafting. So I'm even starting to work on some sewing projects that I may start doing on here as well. But one of the things I want to do tonight, I've still got a whole bunch of scraps that I had pulled out for us to kind of work on. And I really love quilt cards. I think they're a unique way to kind of put together your paper and use up some of your scraps. So I want to do some quilt cards tonight. And if you want to craft along, really all you need is your scraps, whatever size you've got, we'll make them work. A couple embossing folders that will kind of serve to look as the quilting. Now, if you don't have this, you can actually use your scoreboard and put some dimension into it to make it look like the stitched quilting. And it's even a step that you can bypass if you don't have anything or you don't want to do that step. But these are a couple that I tend to use that I think look like quilting designs or sewing designs. And then just some sentiments. And I've got, I've put it somewhere else. I've got a box of pre-made sentiments that I like to pull from that I'm trying to use up. But I also went and pulled out this go-to greetings. It really is. It's got all the different sayings that you might need or want, and it's got them in different fonts and different sizes. So I wanted to pull this out in case I need to make some font or make some sentiments. This is a set I've not gotten to play with, and I really like it, so I pulled it out thinking I might use something from it, but not so sure. And then this is a very old Stampin' Up! Set. It's called Love You Sew, and I just like a couple of the sentiments, especially the I love you so for the quilt cards, or you're a cut above the rest. Quilters don't lie, they embellish. So crafters don't lie, they just embellish. And then this one, thanks a hole punch. I like using that on some tags and stuff. So anyway, I pulled this one out just because it kind of fits the sewing theme. Not sure if we'll really need the stamp sets or not, because like I said, I'm trying to use up those tags that I've got, which I have set somewhere that I'm not seeing. Where are they? I pulled them out and then I set them aside so I'd have plenty of room, and I don't know where I put them. So I may be stamping some tonight. Welcome in, everybody. Hello. Let's see, Nicole Newman, thank you for being here. Appreciate you chatting with me. The first thing I'm going to do just to kind of start this, these are just scraps from all different projects. So some of them match, some of them don't. I'm going to kind of start going through here and just kind of grouping them maybe a little bit by color. So I've kind of got, see, like that's green on one side and blue on the other. I'm not sure which that'll work with. But I'm just going to kind of start putting them a little bit by color to see if I can find some matches that I might want to make. Just laying them out a little bit. That would be a good one to use, except I'm not a fan of this side of it. So we'll see. Hello, Kayla. Welcome in. Cloud, welcome in. Claude, glad to have you with us. Like I said, I'm just going to kind of sort things out based on what color I think they are. And that's just going to help me maybe try to piece some of them together. There's a multicolor. And that one's really pretty. I like both of those. I'm going to put the florals over here maybe because they can kind of go with a bunch of different colors. A lot of these were from Christmas cards. See, like these are a set. They've all kind of got crafting supplies on them. That's makeup and florals. So I might be able to do something with that. Makeup and shoes and florals. So I might be able to do something with this. I'm going to put those together and then just keep still sorting. So what are y'all doing tonight? Those of y'all in here with me, are you hanging out, just chilling on YouTube? Are you working along, crafting? What y'all got going on tonight? We were just taking kind of a relaxing evening, not doing much. And I almost forgot I was going to go live. I looked up and saw what time it was and said, oh, I got to get in there. Got to get in there. Let's see. Ooh, some purples. I don't think I've got a purple stack yet. Purples and yellows. That's pretty. Some more florals. Purples and florals. Looks like I've got kind of a lot of the greens, and that surprises me because I'm not usually a green girl. That's not usually my color of choice. That could go either way. I think for tonight I like it that direction. Well, hello, Miss Allie. So glad to have you in here with us. How are you doing tonight? I am just trying to kind of sort things. I think I put one of these in here, but it's not. That's beginning to look more red. Those are got more colors in them. I'm just kind of sorting, thinking I might make some quilt cards tonight. It's another really pretty floral and kind of a black and white. Glad to hear that. Okay, now that I've got them kind of sorted out, I'm going to kind of look and see if I've got some things that go together or that we might kind of blend. As I was seeing that, I wondered if these might kind of line up to do. It's kind of the same color families, some peaches and orange. I don't know, that's a possibility. So let me lay those two. Let me lay those two together. I did see these couple of kind of lavender. Oh, nope, there's only one piece of that. Oh, but it's the back side of some of these. So let me pull. Yeah. Let me see if I've got more of those. I kind of like that lavender and that. I think that would work together. And there's two pieces of that. So I'm going to put that aside. That could be a nice little match. And I could even put that with it. Let's see if it doesn't find another home, we may do that. I really want to try to make these work simply because they have kind of the craft motif on them. Let's see, there's two pieces that I could get a couple nice squares out of. And I'm not seeing another print. Let me see if I got some solids that I might could put with it. That would definitely work. Now I'm just kind of pulling out of my other scraps, kind of like my solids over here to see what I've got that might go with it. Ooh, there's some more purple. Let me put that up there. Oh, awesome. 12 cards for your class with your seniors tomorrow. Ooh, what style are you using? Are you doing a specific card design? I'm not finding another piece of that blue. That doesn't really work. Sometimes putting the paper together is the hardest part. That kind of gray works with it and blends. That might be okay. That might work. And then I'm seeing a little bit of a pink. That might work. Let's put those together and see what we can come up with that. Whew. Oh, sorry. I had to turn away and sneeze. Last night when I was fixing, or yesterday afternoon when I was fixing our deviled eggs, I got a big nose full of pepper and I sneezed and my nose ran all night long. I was miserable. Took some Benadryl and that didn't even help. And then today I've been sneezing so much. I'm beginning to wonder if maybe I'm not getting sick. Maybe I'm getting sick and it just coincided with getting that pepper in my nose, because I've never had that much trouble with, with something bothering me like that. It just happened that as I kind of dumped out a bunch of the pepper, I took a deep breath and it went right up my nose. And I'm still blowing, so I may actually be getting sick. These are beautiful. I love the green and brown and tan together. I think that would make a very elegant, like a vintage quilt look. But if I use one side, the other side is what coordinates with it. And if I use them both, it doesn't work so well. So I'm going to see if I can pull out maybe some tans or brown solids that might go with those as well. See if I can kind of get in that same color family. I think that works. That not so much, but I think that looks good with that brown. And then see if this is that cream could work with it. So those could be, that's a good set. All right. And I really like the red. Let me see if I can get a red set going. How much black and white? I don't have a lot of black and white, so that's a common tendency for me. I love red, black, and white together. I think that's a very nice set. Let's see. What have I got? Notes of Spring and the Prairie Grass. That prairie grass is a really neat set. Oh yeah, I'll go check it out. I'll go see what you're going to make. Let's see. I've got quite a few of these. Yeah, let me lay those out and see if I can find something that might work with it. Whether it is, I think it might need like a print instead of a solid color. I've got some more bigger prints laying here. Ooh, I'll go with that. That might work together. I love this paper. I think it's actually a Christmas paper, but if you kind of downplay the green a little bit, it kind of starts looking floral. I think those are actually supposed to be poinsettias. Yep, I think I'm going to try to do something with that. So we've got a couple options to play with now, so I'm going to put the rest of these aside, see if I can kind of keep them in their stacks. Won't have to sort them next time. Really love those florals, and I did pull some more purple, so I'm going to keep those two out. And I really like that one. I've done quite a bit with that paper, and I don't even know what paper it is. I'm sure it's a Stampin' Up! Paper, but I don't know the name of it. So I think I'm going to leave it laying up there because I kind of want to do something with it. All right. And let me lay those back over there. All right, let's pick one and start going with it. This is going to be my first one. And, you know, a lot of quilts, you know, I can go down a deep rabbit hole on quilt history. I love quilts and the way they've been used in history. I love those beautiful heirloom quilts that are like museum quality. But then my grandmother made what I call the Depression era quilts, where you're using scrap and leftover fabrics and you know, really just making use of what you've got. And I think those quilts are beautiful too. And so that's my first, when I think of a quilt, I think of a scrap quilt. So let's start this piece. I'm going to start with just kind of a plain, like a scrap quilt. And I'm just going to try to trim up my pieces and make them square. Right now I'm going to leave them as big as I can. I'm just trying to get them so I can see what size I'm working with. Okay, so that is on the short side, that's a 2-inch square. So let me just go ahead and make that a 2x2. And we'll see if we can't work all of those into that. Oh, here's the 2. A 2. I may not get 4 of them out of it, but we'll see. That looks like I'm only going to get 3. But that's okay. We'll see if we can still make something work. And then these were the colors I was thinking worked with it, so I'm just going to do them to 2 by 2 as well. And then straight, yeah, let's leave it and go 2. I might get another one out of that one. Welcome in, everybody. We're making some quilt cards tonight. I kind of pulled together some pieces that looked good together out of my scrap pile, and we're now going to try to do, it's a little too long. Now we're going to try to make the pattern. Getting everything into 2 by 2 squares. And the only reason I'm using that measurement is because the smallest pieces I had, a 2 by 2 square was the biggest I could get out of the smallest pieces that I had. So if you're trying to figure out what size you could do with yours, really in these quilt cards, there's not a lot of common measurements. You just do what you can get out of them, especially if you're doing the scraps. If you're starting with a 6 by 6 or a whole piece of paper, I think you could start with 2 by 2 squares, and that's a good dimension to start with. I'm just going to do a few of each color that I thought looked good together for that. And then we'll see what we can put together. So do any of y'all sew as well as paper craft? What do y'all do? Sewing, paper crafting, all of the above? I love to quilt. I love to sew. The only craft I've ever tried and did not enjoy was jewelry making. And I don't have a good style. I like jewelry, but to put things together or something, I don't know. I just wasn't good at making pretty jewelry. So I've still got like a bead loom and quite a few of my jewelry supplies. I just don't use them. I use them for other things. Okay. So a traditional quilt square is usually offset squares put together. Let's see. Let's try this. If I went smaller, I could probably do a 9 patch with them. Nope. Okay, I'm not getting my design right. There we go. If I do that, I'll need to cut some more of the cream. Need another cream for that. Oh, no, I don't. It's right there. It's right there, Suzanne. So that could be a design. Now, that is a 6 by 6, so it's bigger than my card. What if I just went with the cream? I think that's pretty. 2, 4, 6. That's still longer than my card, but it would fit sideways. Okay, I'm liking that. I think what I'm going to do, I've got some plain scrap paper. This is scrap from another project, and I'm going to get me just a piece of it. Does not have to be the whole piece, doesn't have to be perfect. I just get what I call a carrier sheet. Just enough that I can kind of glue these down, and I want something that's thin so it won't add a lot of bulk. And I'm going to start just by gluing these. Let's see, is there direction to that? No, each one's opposite. Okay, so that doesn't matter which way it goes. So I'm just going to start gluing these down. And again, this carrier paper is literally just to give me something to glue on. If you have double stick, like a wide piece of double stick tape, you could even put that down and go on it. I just kind of, I preserve my double stick tape for special projects. And this is literally just to get them, to get our original, or to get our design held together, our pattern held together. Ooh, clay jewelry, clay beads and stuff. Those are beautiful. How you learn anything? I'm like you. I like to do it all. I do. I have Cricut, and I do like play with it and explore with it. I don't know. I like all the tools for all the crafts. But like I said, jewelry was something I just never, I don't know that I felt like I did a good job with it. It was fun. I enjoy doing any kind of crafts. But yeah, I sew, I quilt, I crochet, I knit. I've even learned how to do bobbin lace. That's really fun, but it's really time consuming, and I never fully put enough effort into it to get good at it. That's something I would like to revisit and work on. I've tried tatting, and I really want to tat. But again, that's a skill set you've got to really work on. I found that out when I was doing crochet and knitting. Those are skills you kind of have to, or at least for me, I have to keep them active to stay good at it. You know, paper crafting, you can kind of walk away from it, do something else for a few months and come back and be okay. But with crafting, I was always struggling to like relearn how to do the stitches or get back into it. Okay, I think, make sure I've not got too much of a gap in that. That looks okay. Okay, so the reason I wanted this on a, no, I'm not. My husband and I have been married for 31 years. The reason I wanted this on a soft kind of thin sheet is because now I'm going to run it through the embossing folder, and I want the embossing to go onto these pieces like it's one solid piece, but not be on the back of my card. I kind of like that look, that this is by itself, or quilted by itself. And so that's why I just wanted that little carrier sheet. So I'm going to slip this in to my embossing folder. No problem, Lizelle. Everybody is welcome here. I've got several friends who are gay. So no harm, no foul. Glad you're here with us. Bags out of beads, tatting and knitting. Oh, the bags that are just beads and wire. Is that what you're talking about? I've seen some of those, and man, those are gorgeous. Those are gorgeous. Okay. So I mentioned the other night I've switched over from my Big Shot to a Spellbinders Platinum, and I'm still learning all my different plates to try to get everything through. And embossing folders are giving me the worst, because some of them, if they're 3D or if they are different, then they're not going through as well, and I don't want to damage my folder, so that's not going to work. So I'm still trying to figure out the right shims and things to use with my embossing folders. So let's see if this will work. Nope. Let's try it with this. Beads and string. Oh, Allie, those, I would love to see some of those. I've seen them on YouTube, and they are just gorgeous. I think my other problem with my Spellbinders is the table it's on is not very solid. Like, it's a little tray table. little cart table, and I don't think it's sturdy enough. I may have to rearrange where I'm putting it. Thanks, Allie. Got it. Got her taken care of. Okay. First time I've had someone like that I've had to move along. All right. Okay, so there's our piece as it's gone through the embossing folder. And I think this one's called Softly Sophisticated. And to me, that does look like quilting designs, like the stitches that would go through a quilting design. So now let me see if I've got, now I want to put this on kind of a border, like you would have a border for your quilts. See if I've got a good piece for that. I kind of want to stay in that brown family. Would that work? I think I want something brown. I think I want the brown. So let me pull out. This is the color that I cut with those other squares. Oh, let's see. Before I do that, I need to get this down to a card front size. Yeah. Yep. I've been doing YouTube for several years and I've never had any issues. I've only been doing lives for a few weeks, but you know, you do have to watch out. There are people here not to be fun, not to do the fun things. All right, this looks to be 1/2 inch bigger than the card front. So I want to take off a 1/4 inch off each end. I probably could have cut down all my squares, but we're going to go. I'm kind of taking inspiration, Allie, from the card you did the other night, where your design went down the center of the card and then your borders were just on the edges. That's what I'm looking for. And let me go ahead and get out a card base so I can kind of plan and size it to it. I'm picturing it on this card base. So I think I need to take off a little bit more on each side. Let's see, that's already 1/4. Let me take I think I'm going to take 1/4 off each side as well. This may look very similar to the card you did last night, or the other night, Allie. May not look as much quilt card as it just does drop shadow. Is that what you called it? Was that it? Okay. I think I like this brown better. So on my card, what I'm picturing is the quilt in the front with these borders on each side. So let me trim this. Welcome in, everyone. Thank y'all for being here. We're playing around with scrap paper to make quilt cards tonight. Just pulling out scraps and seeing what we've got and what we can make with them. So, a lot of trial and error. There are a lot of makers who have, let's see, that's it, 1 1/4. So we'll back it up here. There are a lot of card makers out there who have patterns and templates. So if this is a style you like, be sure and search around on YouTube. You'll find a lot of people making these kinds of cards. I know there's one Stampin' Up! Demonstrator specifically who does a lot of this kind of card. And she has lots of templates on her YouTube page. So, or actually, I think she may be on Facebook. But you can definitely find her and follow her for more inspiration. All right, so I'm going to put this down right on the edge to border it. Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't want to call it steal, but I will steal anybody's pattern and design. I think that's the fun part. You know, I've actually had a couple people, what do they call it? Casing, copy and share everywhere. There's like a polite word they say when someone takes your design and kind of makes it their own and does something different with it. I do think that's an honor. If someone likes and has watched your video and decided, hey, I want to do something with that, I do think that's an honor. And I have to be quiet while I line these up so I don't get them on the wrong spot. Okay, so there's my border that I want. And because this is lower in between, I don't want this to lose its, I don't want it to be sagging in between, even though that's just the layer of a piece of paper. I'm going to go ahead and put this layer down the middle just to give it some stability. Might even scoot it to the side. It's not going to be seen, so it doesn't matter what color it is. In fact, I think I'm going to actually just scoot it to the side, make that gap a little bit less. I just didn't have a big enough piece to get a full sheet out of this, or I would have used the full sheet. Again, I'm trying to use up my scraps. So I'll have to go back and find the quilt card lady. That's not her name. She actually, I think it is actually maybe something like bird, because she's a bird watcher too. And so she does a lot with bird cards and talks a lot about bird watching. I'll have to find her and then I'll link her, because she does a whole lot of quilt cards. Really, really pretty quilt cards. Let's see, how big does this need to be? And again, I'm just filling in the middle so that my front doesn't sag. If you had a full piece of paper the color you wanted, you could certainly cut the full piece and use it. I just did not. I redid my paper storage. I reorganized my room over Thanksgiving. And then in March, I didn't reorganize it, but I started storing stuff differently, like just kind of changing the way I had things stored. And I redid my paper storage. And so I found a whole lot more scraps and things that I really want to try to use up before I start buying and investing in more full sheets of paper, because my scraps are taking up as much room as my regular paper, and I just need to, I don't want to hoard things. I want to use them. So there we go. I like that. That actually reminds me of an old quilt my grandmother had made. Browns and greens. She's been gone for many years now, but she was a really prolific quilter. She made all the grandkids a quilt when they graduated. She made really beautiful Dutch girl quilts. Not sure if y'all are familiar with that design, but I love Dutch girl quilts. Like that's my obsession. If I see a Dutch girl quilt in a secondhand shop or flea market or something, it's coming home with me. I can't leave them. I just think they're beautiful. Some people call them other names. They're also called Allison. I want to say this lady's name is Julie, but I could be wrong. Like I said, I'll have to look for her and link it. There we go. Okay, that is really pretty. Now there's something I want to do to this to kind of help it pop. I like to do this to some of my quilt cards. And most of the cards I use, I wind up mailing, so I try to keep them flat. But I really have the idea to kind of come down it and put a piece of this, I guess you'd call it ribbon or edging. I'm not even sure where I got it. I've had it for a very long time and I'm down to the end of it. So I think I'm going to come down. And for that, I want to use my Aleene's Tacky Glue. I think it works a little bit better. Actually, I probably could use the glue that's in my glue press, but I've got that little bitty nozzle on my glue press. And I have found that when you're putting down fabric, you need a little bit more glue. That may be too much, but because the fabric will kind of absorb it. And this is that woven stuff. So let me... And I did what I know not to do. Don't stretch it, especially if it's something knit like this. You don't want to stretch it because then as the glue starts to dry, or if the fabric starts to kind of pull back together, it'll pull away. Yeah, this, especially with this kind of muted color, it's giving vintage, and I think a lot of vintage quilts I see have some type of lace or edging on them. And so that was kind of when I saw the paper coming together, I kind of knew that's what I wanted to do. Especially when that cream square worked with it. Welcome in, everybody. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. There we go. Now that'll take it a little bit to dry, but we can work on our sentiment. And then I'll come back and I'll actually trim it off even with it when it's dry. So we can set that aside. And now, let's see. I think this is one where I want to use I Love You So. I don't know. That just kind of is speaking to me. Maybe that one. Crafters don't lie, they embellish. I don't necessarily need a thank you or a birthday card right now, but you know, you always need those kind. I just don't have a reason for it right now. I could just do just a note. I like that script. I think maybe that, just a note. Let's try that one. Let's try that one. Just a note. I actually have not used that one yet out of this set. I actually had 2 of these sets. It's one of those I accidentally bought 2 of, which I never know how I do that. I can't imagine how I do that, but I did it. And so let's see. Nope, this way. Ooh, there we go. Ah, always takes a second to pull those off. Just a note. That's cute. And now, let's see what. Ooh, somebody's racing their engines out there. What? Let me look here for a second. I've got a few punches. I love this punch. I think I'm going to try to punch this out of a darker color and then stamp on a lighter color and maybe put it across there. Let's see what that looks like. See if I've got a piece big enough to do that. If not, I'll just do, what I'm thinking is like to kind of highlight or emphasize the sentiment strip when I finally get it. When you work with scraps, you get a little creative on how you do things. But I actually enjoy that. I think it makes me get a little bit more creative. So like that could go like so off either side of the sentiment. Now, do I have one that will fit that sentiment? That's too thin for that. So I don't think I want to use that same color. I have a lighter brown. Let's try it. I don't know that that'll work, but we're playing around here. I'm really trying to lean into the browns, the natural tones, because I don't think I've got anything that will match that green. That is a very old piece of Stampin' Up! Paper. And I don't know that I even want to try to match it. Unless Allie can figure out what color is it. She's the color guru. She can figure out colors. Now I'm just trimming the sentiment. We can lay it like that. Have the flag sticking out of the side. What does that look like? What does that look like? I tend to put sentiments when there's nothing else with them. I always tend to kind of go to that lower corner. I don't know why. What do y'all think? Does that look too gray, that paper? Hey, Bonnie, welcome in. Thanks for joining us. I can't tell if that paper looks too gray or not. Maybe I should go with this one. We'll try it too. We'll punch them both, or we'll do them both and see which one works. This is how I wind up with a lot of extra sentiments, because I'll do 2 or 3 and see which one works best or looks best. Oh, I just bent that. Maybe it'll be all right. I think this one looks better. Looks more brown than gray. So we're going to go with it. All right. So I'm just going to put a dab of glue on the back of my flag and center it. Kind of center it there, so it sticks out. Maybe a little, maybe not that much. There we go. Just a little bit. Yeah, much better. Much better. And then I'll put some glue on this end. I'm going to try to even those flags out and see if I can get them about the same length on each side. Hopefully try to get them centered. That looks good. I do not strive for perfection. I just strive for enjoyment. And now let's put some foam on it. I think I've actually got some foam tape that width. Let's do that. I'm trying to use up my rolls of foam tape because they don't fit in my new storage pieces quite so well. So anytime I can use them up, I need to. And let's put the ink up before I smear it everywhere. What do y'all think? Is the bottom, does that look okay? Does it need to go in the center, up top? Like I said, I tend to go, when it's just the sentiment, I tend to go low and to the right, but that's right. Crafting is crafting. I think I'm going to go, I think I am going to try to center it on the card, but go to the lower end. Kind of like that. There we go. That's still a little wet. I'll wait to trim those off. Oh, y'all. I got that card upside down. Dad, blame it. I do that a lot. More than you would think someone should. More than you would think someone should. Okay. Make sure the card is in the right direction. All right, there we go. Try that again. There we go. Looks even better that way, doesn't it? Now that pulled up, so let me try to get some glue under that corner. Little bit of surgical repair. It's all right. I have been known when if I've done that, I've been known to cut the card apart and just glue it onto another card. I've got ways to fix that because I do it all the time. All right. Let's see if we can trim off the ribbon now. Seems a little bit more sturdy. There we go. And now for embellishments. Let's see what we got. Let's see. Ooh, these, I didn't get these put up last night. I've got those laying there. That gold might look good. I probably just need to only buy gold sequins because I think those are beautiful on everything. These are more teardrop shaped, but they're kind of that paley yellow. Hey, Zippity. Welcome in. We are making quilt cards tonight. I'm still trying to use up a whole bunch of scraps that I've got. And so I am stuck on this scrap busting theme. And tonight's going to be quilt cards. Here's another. So we've got those gold ones. We've got these that are teardrop. These are almost the same color as those, but they're just a light. They kind of seem light and airy. I don't know if those would work or not. We'll lay them. We'll lay them and keep looking. Oh, and then we got pearls. Off-white pearls. That might work. We'll see. Let's see. Here are some smaller off-white pearls. The other night I was looking for those and couldn't find them to save my soul. Oh, yeah. See, Zippity, I forget. Yes, quilt cards. I love to quilt. You know, quilting is taking little pieces of fabric and sewing them back together to make bigger pieces of fabric. So a quilt card is the same thing. You take little pieces of paper and you put them back together to make a big piece of paper. And then I ran it through an embossing folder to kind of get that stitched look like you do with quilts. And then, yeah, I'm just making a quilt card. Basically taking a quilt pattern and trying to make it out of fabric. Oh, handmade quilts, girl. That's my happy place. I love any handmade quilt. I love any quilt, but I love any handmade quilt. I think those, I was kind of wondering if I might find something green. Like I said, that's going to be a hard green to match. But I was kind of looking to see if I found something that would pull out the green. But I'm not. I think these are too dark of a yellow. I don't know, they might work. I think I like the champagne more than the yellow. And that's... Is there something on this that might work? I'll lay those there too. Okay, now I pulled out way too many options. I can make decisions with fabric or with paper and all that stuff, but when it comes to the bling, I want it all. I think it all looks good. What do y'all think about the green color? Does any of that match enough? Would that work to put, you know, a couple around? Fold over embossing. Yes, the embossing folder. Let's see. Where's the one I used? Well, I just had it in my hand. They look like this. Those plastic folders that you put the paper in and then you run it through an embossing machine or a die cut machine. Some people call them a big shot. Mine's called a spellbinder. So yeah. The first ones, do you mean kind of the champagne-y ones? Or the first glittery one? I like the warm tones of the champagne. The pearls are pretty, but I think I don't know, they're a little more classy. Yours is an Empress, Bonnie? Yeah. Okay. All right. So I think you're saying, let's do it this way. 1 or 2. 1 or 2. And if you say 3, we'll pick up the black on it. Thank you, Zippy. Zippity, thank you. Thank you, Zip. All right. Now let's stick those puppies on. I think they do add something with that glitter. It gives a warmth to it. Let's see. I think I want one here. This may be one, you know, usually I put these on in 3s, but they say to do odd numbers, and if I don't do 3, I have to do 5. I think this one may get 5. One in each of the pale squares. And then what if there's one? Will it fit there? Did I cut it a little short? I kind of like to put things on the side of the sentiment as well. It's a little tight on that end, but that'll work. Yeah, there we go. Rules of odds. Yep. I think that's pretty. Yeah, those may not have been needed, but it's pretty. I like it. I like it a lot. Now, let's see. This is that same paper. I'm going to put it on the inside as an insert. It's a scrap that I've been reusing. This was from my mother-in-law, my in-law's 50th anniversary. And so it kind of makes me happy to use that paper and see it. Remember their anniversary party. Get it trimmed down. Oops, that's not, okay. Got to trim a little bit more. You know, Bonnie, I'm not either. But when I started laying out my papers, I had a whole lot of green scraps laying here. And I would have never thought that because I don't think I use green that much. But there sure was quite a few of them. I think I had mostly green scraps. So that was a surprise to me. I like yellows, but they don't look good on me. And so like I don't wear yellow. I don't think about yellow. I'm really a jewel tone person. I like the dark colors, you know, navies and burgundies, even more of kind of a golden orange than a yellow. There we go. There we go. There's our first quilt card for tonight. And I think it's cute. I think it's cute. We did good. Let's see. One of the other papers. Oh, take care, Zippity. One of my good friends loves yellow. It's all about skin tone. Yeah, I'm very pale, but I have dark hair. Not like black dark, but I have brunette hair. And I don't know, things will wash me out and make me look so pale so quickly. And yellow is one of those. Let's see. I think I gotta trim that. So the other pieces that I pulled out were these purples. And let me kind of make some space here because we may come back to some of those gems. So what I'm thinking with this one, there's different styles of quilting, and one is called patchwork quilt. That's what this one is called. When you literally just have squares, that's called a patchwork quilt. When you work with strips, sometimes they call it strip quilting or rail fence quilts. And there is a quilt design where you overlap your fabric doesn't overlap, but when you sew it, your squares sew together so that it looks like it's overlapping like this, like it's crossing a dimension. So I'm wondering, I'm thinking that might be a good design. Let me pull out a card base and kind of play with it on a card base. Make it landscape. Well, Allie, we're going to make this one in honor of you. It's a periwinkle. It's a pretty purple. I love the dark purple in this. I think we're going to go with this. Excuse me, y'all. I'm going to have to blow my nose. And if I knew how to mute y'all, I would. Is there a way to mute y'all? Let me see here. Okay, did y'all hear that? Just curious. I hit mute on my phone. I was wondering what happened. Oh. And that was a fortuitous nose blow because that made me look around and see some purple ribbon. We may need to, I've got quite a bit of purple ribbon. We may play with ribbon on this one too. I'm pretty sure this purple is a origami paper that I had because it's pale on one side and it's really thin. I got rid of all my other paper that's not Stampin' Up, but this is still in my scraps. So I think it's probably one of my origami papers. Okay. So on this one, I'm going to be a little bit smarter. And the carrier strip that I use, I'm going to use one. Do I want to use? No, because I think I want the white to show through. I think I'm going to cut the strip for the carrier page, like I said, just to hold it all together. I think I'm going to size that the right length for my card so that I can line my blues up with it and it'll help it space. So let me set this aside. I think so too. I'm looking forward to these in colors. The last two sets of in colors I haven't been crazy about, but sorry, I'm lining up. So I didn't even purchase them. I may end up doing Secret C and a couple out of the ones that's right now when they retire. But the ones that are going away right now, like the Shy Shamrock and Timid Tiger, those were just not my colors. I thought they were pretty, but I wasn't going to invest in them. I didn't want to invest in them as a set. And with the in colors, I might buy the re-inker and use it on an, you know, a ink spot or something. But I'm not tempted to buy the full pads of the in colors because they're only good for 2 years. You know, they come and go so quickly. So what I did, this little thin piece of typing paper, scrap typing paper, I cut this knowing that it is where I want the border to be on my cardstock or on my card base. So like these squares, I can line up with that end and know that when I put it on here, it's going to be spaced right. So let me start with that. Because this one's got kind of a little bit of funk in it, I'm going to put it in the middle so it doesn't show. And these I think are good and straight. Let me double check them. These are nice solid pieces. And they are square, so I'm not going to have to cut those. So we're just going to put them right here on our carrier sheet. Well, let's see. Let's see if I can center this really good. Come on, scoot up. There we go. And then we'll do this side. I tend to go for a lot of different colors when I'm doing sentiments or starting cards from scratch. But if I'm working with kind of like this with scraps, I tend to go, like you said, something espresso or black, you know, something trying to neutral. I want to do a video on how I start a card from scratch, like starting with the stamp set. Because a lot of people say if they don't start with paper or somebody else's design, they don't really know what to do. And that was one of the things I tried to figure out really early because I had more stamp sets than anything. Okay, I've got this crooked. I'm gonna have to pause for a second and get this straight. Because if it's not straight now, it's not going to get straight on the card. There is that. Oh, that's stuck. And I'm lining it up. Lining it up on the bottom. Right there. There we go. I think that's what happened last time. It moved after I laid it down. When I got my glass mat at first, I used it mostly for, I hope that works. I wanted it because it was cleaning. It was easy to clean. Hey, Christina, welcome in. And then I started using it to line stuff up, and I really liked that. But now I'm beginning to struggle with like the shadow. Maybe it's the lights of when I'm recording. But there's like a shadow between the glass and the grid. And if I'm not looking right down on it, I'm putting things crooked. But again, I'm not worried about perfection. I just don't want to be completely crooked. Completely cattywampus. Let's see. I think I want to reverse these because I'm not sure. They don't really fit together, but they kind of look like they do. So if I reverse it, I feel like it does definitely look like two different sheets of, two different designs, not just the one piece of paper cut. So I'm just going to space these where they're even, like so. And then put them down. Let's see. Looks pretty good. And same thing over here. I've wondered about that, if the grid paper on the glass mat might work for lining up. I really liked using the grid paper. So that's why this wasn't such a draw to me, because I had my grid paper, but then the cleanup, like if you get ink off on it, or just being able to wipe up the glue. And with my white desk, I really want to keep it kind of preserved as long as possible. And so I got it really for cleanup, but I've enjoyed having it. I'm just struggling sometimes with the grid. Okay, this is an old Stampin' Up! Embossing folder. Not sure if you can see that. Kind of squares. I'm going to use it for this one. I'm going to run it through. Oh, that's so tight. That isn't even going through. Okay, there's no shim or anything on that, and it's not going through. Try it this way. Okay, y'all, that is stuck in my machine. It's not moving forward or backwards. Y'all got to see this. It is completely stuck. It's not going one way or the other. And that's just the plate and the folder and the base and the papers that's in it. I can't get that through. I may have to go get my Big Shot. It only went maybe halfway through. Is this it doesn't even say it's a 3D one. Let's try this. thing is not going to win. I'm going to get this embossed. This shall be embossed, saith I. It doesn't say that it's 3D. That it is not going through this machine. Let's try this way. I'm going to use every shim I got to see if it'll go through without the plastic mat. I'm going to have to go back to my big shot. I'm just not doing well with this spellbinder. I did, and that's what got it stuck, was the base plate and one of the, or the base and then one of the plates. But okay. But it did get embossed. It went through there by George. By George and by Jigger. See, I think I had it this way. This was thinner paper, and so you can almost see the purple coming through. But that'll be okay. I think that's more the fault of the paper, because like I said, this was origami paper. It's really, really thin. Now, like we did on the other one, I think I want a darker, like a border around it, and it will kind of peek through here. Or, I don't know, do we need that, or do we like it on the white? Smooth off that edge a little bit. Well, I'll look for a piece of purple. Y'all think about that. Do we want to leave it on the white or mat it with something darker behind it? Let's see what I can find. I may not have anything purple. Which again, that surprises me because I use a lot of purple. I use a lot of purple. So as I'm going through here, I'm surprised at how much green scrap I have. But I think that's what I'm seeing is I use if I like the color, I use it more and it doesn't wind up in my scraps. What's in my scrap is the things I don't usually use. I think I'm seeing a habit form. A habit. Let's see. That's not going to be wide enough, so I don't think we can use that. You're rolling fit. I have heard that, Bonnie, and I've even tried it a few times with some of the cheaper embossing folders. So yeah, you're right. That works. Mat it. I think you're right. Let me see if I can find. Let's see. I know I've got some paper this color. Let me see. This may be too dark. Yeah, that makes it look blue. Let me see. Let me go look at my 12 by 12s and see what I can pull up. That's not purple. I think Highland Heather would work. I'm just not sure if I have any. Okay. Ooh, color the border with a dark purple marker. Good idea, Bonnie. If we don't have the paper, we make the paper. Let's see. Here's what I've pulled out. I think any purple I put with this is going to make this go blue. And I'm not even sure what color that one is. I think this one might be Highland Heather. Let's see. Here's a pink. And there was one other one I pulled out. Let me. This one I think is Gorgeous Grape. So out of those, I love this with the flowers, but I think it doesn't work with the blue, with that one. I think this blends the colors the most because it kind of pulls out the light purple and the light pink in the flower. Again, this works really well with the purple flowers, but it's making this go the wrong color. That one might be possible. So from these two, what are your choices? Pink or purple? Preferences? Suggestions from the audience? I'm going to take a drink. The pink, I kind of think so too. Because I was calling this purple until it got up to some purples. And I think we lose it. All right. So now let me see. Okay. We will cut this to bam, wham. We will cut this down to 5 1/4 by 4. So it'll have just a teeny tiny white border on it. Quarter by 4. So it's got just a, oop. Okay, I'm going to, do I need to trim the blue, the purple squares? I thought it would have just a little bit of a border between the blue and the white, but I've lost it on this end. Let me cut another piece just slightly bigger, but then it won't fit on the card. Here's that. Yeah, it will. Yeah, it will. So we'll split, instead of 5 1/4, we'll do just a little over 5. That should still give us a pretty good border. Yeah, that's better. And then make sure I got my card right. And that will go there. All right. So as it's beginning to flop a little bit, I'm going to put a lot of glue on the back of it. When it went through the embossing folder, it really made the paper soft, especially that origami paper. So it's going to need quite a bit of glue to help hold it. Okay. And then again, glue. Actually, I'm going to use double stick tape on the back of this to make sure I get it all the way down. If y'all were here the other night, you saw my hack with, or my trick with the double-sided tape, so you've got time to move it around. Ooh, into the roll of tape. Yay, we've used up a whole roll of tape. Let's see, this one's almost out. I didn't pull it purposely because I thought it'd run out, so let's see if we can use it up too. I love the feeling of using up something and being able to throw. Oh, yep, that's all that was left on that one. In fact, let me take that off because that's not even really helpful. I love being able to use up something. To feel like you finished it and it's completed. Okay. So all the way around with your double-sided tape. And then just one strip in the middle. Where's my pokey tool? Yes, it feels good to use something up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go around and just take the backing of the tape, just take it halfway off and fold it back. For this one, this might be a little tricky because it's 2 pieces. We'll see if that works. And then you take the center piece and you remove the backing completely. And so now you've got handles. And make sure I get my card laid out right. Even though it's double-sided tape, I can lay it on here. I can use my handles and move it around. The folded pieces is not letting it stick. So I've got plenty of time and ability to move it around. And when you get it where you want it and centered, you just press in the middle because that's where the open tape is. And then you pull off the handles and press it down. A lot of people don't like the double-sided tape because they say you don't have wiggle room. Well, if you put the handles on it, you get wiggle room. And there it is. I learned that trick from Natasha Foote. She is another content creator. She's out of New Zealand. So if you don't know her, you might go follow her. She's got some really good tips. She is not Stampin' Up. She does all different products. I don't, at least the last one I was watching her the most, she was not sponsored by anybody. So she did all sorts of things. All sorts of, I know, isn't that wonderful? I love double-sided tape. It would probably be it was my glue of choice until I got the glue press. And I think I saw Bonnie say she loves her glue press too. This is the only way I liked liquid glue. I was too heavy-handed with it. I just got it everywhere. And if you're a Stampin' Up person, I'm sorry to say this, I cannot use the Tombow green glue because it dries tacky and I'm too messy. I get it everywhere. It sticks everywhere. I'm like a 3-year-old with glue when you give me that stuff. Okay. Now, I think we want to look for, where's my embellishments? Let's look for some really pretty purple sparkly stuff. I know I've got purples. I know I've got purples. I love the champagne and the muted colors. But for something like this, I'm really feeling dark purples, dark pinks. There's a bunch of different colors. there's some pinks that kind of match it. I've got some whites, but I don't think I want to use white on it. I think I want something a little bit more colorful. I think those will match. Those are too dark. I think these are too dark. These, what are these? These are Moody Mauve. They're a real pretty pink in this style, but they may be too dark. I don't know. They kind of match that flower. Okay. What do y'all think? We'll call, on this one, I think it's these pink ones or these blue ones. We could even mix them. Yeah, I've learned the dot method. And it took me back to, what was it, like Bible school, vacation Bible school when I was a kid, because they would always say dot, dot, just a little, not a lot. Or in my head, I think it's dot, dot, dash, dash, dot, dot, just a little, not a lot. But I say dot, dot, just a little, not a lot. Okay. Are y'all thinking these pinks and blues? Are these too purple? Those were what I had in my head, but I think they're too purple. If you want the purple, holler. And I think these are a little pale. I think I'm leaning towards these, unless y'all have. That would be pretty if we had done more of the pink, but I really think these. Scream now or forever hold your peace. Oh, we got to do a sentiment too. Let me do the sentiment before I do the dots. Let me do the sentiment first. And I really want to use, here they are. This is my little sentiment holder of all the extra sentiments from over time. And so I really am trying to use these up. Let's see. There's a thank you. Be strong, be brave, you've got this. And I could even color those end things. Sending a smile your way, I think that's a little small. Thank you so much. Nah, not the green. You stopped with art glitter glue a couple years ago. Barely Arts came out. Yes, I absolutely love the Nouveau glue, and that's what's in this bottle. But like you, I think it's Allie, when I was trying to find a glue other than Tombow, I bought a bottle of glitter art glue, and I love it, but it's too runny for the glue press. So I use my Nouveau exclusively in the glue press because it's the right consistency. But after watching Juju, and she mixes her own glue, I started mixing Eileen's tacky glue because I keep that for anything fabric. That's what I use instead of fabric tack. I started mixing the tacky glue, which is too thick for the glue press, and the art glitter glue, which is too runny. And I'm really only doing it to use up what I've got. But if you mix them about half and half, maybe just a little bit more tacky glue than glitter glue or art glitter glue, you get a really good consistency that works great in this. And I've run one bottle of it through and it works perfectly. So I had trouble getting Nouveau glue. Everybody was out of stock because they don't ship it during the winter months. And so I was literally out of Nouveau and needing to figure something else out. And Juju mentioned mixing her own. And so that's my custom blend is half and half tacky glue with art glitter glue, and it will work in your glue press. Maybe just a little bit more tacky glue than glitter glue. If that helps anybody. Let's see. I'll always be here for you. I have a lot of friends in my life right now who are kind of going through stuff. So I'm leaning toward these generic supportive sentiments, like just wanted to say hi. That's small, but that might work in the middle of that. Is that too small? I ordered mine off of the Sweet Petunia, my Sweet Petunia website when they first came out. Like literally the very first commercial or YouTube thing I saw for this, I went and bought it right then, no hesitation, because I struggle with my glue bottle and I was beginning to have pain in my thumbs, kind of in my thumb joint. So when I saw this, I didn't wait for anybody else to tell me if it was good or not. I ordered it and I've been in love with it ever since. I think you can get it pretty much anywhere, like maybe even on scrapbook.com. May made it. You can order them from her store. For a very long time they were constantly out of stock, like they couldn't keep them in stock anywhere, but I think that's eased up now, so you can just look around. I want to say $45, and you get here's the whole system. You get we'll do a demonstration for it, and I do have an unboxing of this and a review of this on my website or on my YouTube channel if you want to look back. But you get the base, and you get two bottles, two of the bottles that fit in it, and you get two different nozzles, the thin nozzle and one that's just a little bit thicker. And I'm not sure what bottle it's on. Oops. But this is the teeny tiny nozzle. And then this is no, that's not it. That's a broken one. One that's just a little bit bigger than that. And the caps all have pins in them to help clear clogs. So I like that as well. And so I think it was $45 when I bought it. You got the handle, the base, two bottles, and one of them was full, one full bottle of glue and an empty bottle. And then the two different nozzles, the thin and the thicker. And your cap sits here. And then when you put in your bottle of glue, you can store it. It stores like this on your desk. So it's always ready. And if I let it set 24 hours, I always have to take off the little glue glob that forms here. But I don't ever put my lid back on it unless I'm going to be gone for a week or two. I just leave it like this, and it's constantly, and it's good for me. When I do put the lid on it and need to store it, it won't set, so I just store it like this. But I love it. So I'm glad to put out a commercial for it, because I think it really does help if you've got hand issues. Okay. And I did see your comment about May. I do too. I love her stamps. I love watching her. Let's see. Okay. I think I'm going to go with either Just Wanted to Say or Thinking of You, because that's the card I probably could send within the next few days. Right now I don't need a birthday or any of those. I also have the Hello Friend that we could use. And if I do this one, I think I'm going to back it with maybe some more of this pink. I think let's do that. Oh, Bonnie, they're $35 right now. That's good. I think someone said they got a little bit cheaper after they first came out. But whatever I paid for it, I honestly do not mind. I have gotten so much use out of it and am really, really happy with it. It was a good purchase for me. Me too, Allie. Did you get her card maker's prayer journal? It was kind of a book that she put out like to help you, to walk you through not just making cards for people, but also praying for people. And I love it. I don't necessarily sit down and make cards for people, but when I do, like maybe plan out a sentiment or something, then I will sit down and use that journal to think about and work out a prayer for that person when I send the card. I like that. I'll pull it out in just a second and show you. I actually ordered 2. I ordered 1 and filled it up faster than I intended because I didn't use it. I had an idea of how I wanted to use it, and I filled it up. And so I've got a blank one over here that I just ordered a few weeks ago. Well, no, it's probably back around Christmas time. Time flies. But yeah, look, it's the Card Maker's Prayer Journal, I think. It's what it's called. I may pull that out and do one of my lives with it because I think it's really cool. Okay, so there's our card. Let's do our embellishments. Let's see. One, 2, 1, 2, 3. Do we need the pink as well? Oop. You want some of the pink on there too? Maybe in the flower. How's that? I think that's very pretty. Oh, y'all, look what I did. Look what I freaking did. After trying so hard. Thanks, Christina. Now let's actually put it on correctly. You know, you just have to laugh when you do that. We talked about it. We've talked about it so much. Don't put it on backwards. Not again. Yes, again. Yes, again. So I just trimmed it off and I'm going to stick it on a different card base. And then this becomes an insert for it. So not a bit mad about it. Okay. This is the card and this is how it opens and this is how it's right. Let's make sure I do this right this time. That's got a little bit of the curve. Let me see if I can take that off. I didn't get that quite cut on the fold. I'm just taking off that little bit of a lip so that it'll lay flat. Oop. There we go. Okay, card's still in the right direction. No unfixable mistakes, but when you put it on upside down, you kind of got to do something about it. And that'll just give me a chance to use up some more double stick tape. Because especially now, because it's got a pretty heavy front, I'll use the double stick tape on it with maybe even a little bit of glue. There's our second roll of tape gone. Finished it up. I think most of these are like the rolls out of my paper pumpkins. So I have tons of this double stick tape thanks to Paper Pumpkin. April Fools. Make it a card that says, I'm thinking about you and just wanted to say, and then you can't open it up to read what was said. Let me even this up a little bit. I gotta pull this up to my face just to see, make sure I get that trim even on that side. Goodness, 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 Suzanne. My husband jokes, well, we even said it the other night. We were talking about all the cooking mistakes I made when we were first married. Now, my degree is in home economics, and he tells me from regularly that he thinks my degree was honorary just so they could get me out of there before I burned the place down. And he's not wrong. I have no fear in the kitchen, and I will get in there and play with any kind of recipe, or just like go in there and see what's in the cabinet, start trying to make something, or, you know, yeah, I have no fear in the kitchen. I will get in there and do anything. And we were talking the other day, and he was laughing about some of my early mistakes or early problems in the kitchen. And I said, well, one thing's for sure, I'm consistent, because I can still make those same mistakes today. All right, now we have a card. Got a little bit of something to trim there. There we go. She's still beautiful. She's been through a lot tonight, but she's beautiful. She's beautiful. Now, I do want to put, y'all have heard me say that before, when you put so many layers on the front of a card, especially since this has an extra layer, they get nice and sturdy. But even with good cardstock, it makes the back start to feel flimsy if it's just that one piece. So even with a white card base, I will still put in a, you can call it a liner or an insert, whatever you want, just to help that back piece feel close to as sturdy as the front, just so it doesn't feel off balance. So let me put this in, and I will use glue for it. Lots of little dots. Lots of dots. And then we'll roll it. I think that helps smush out the glue and get it around to all the corners. All right. There we go. And see that it makes it a little bit more sturdy. But there she is. There was number 2, and where's the first one? Here's the first one we made. Again, just getting more of the scraps and extras out of my room, so I've got room for more paper to buy. I have enjoyed y'all hanging out with me. Glad y'all were able to make it and for us to chat a little while. And Allie, I'll dig out that prayer journal, and I'm not going live tomorrow night, but we'll do it Wednesday night. We'll look at some cards and how to use it and stuff. And if you go check out her channel, I don't know if she's still got them for sale or not, but I know I got one not too long ago, around Christmas time. So I don't have to buy. I know. I think the same thing, but then I start looking for something specific. Like I want to restock some of my solid Stampin' Up! Colors because I'm using them. But when I look at printed paper, I think, man, I wouldn't have to buy anything for years. It's the coordinating stuff. So, but I am really enjoying this card. I've got a friend who's into retro, like she wears the vintage clothing and stuff. And I'm really thinking she's going to get this card. She's going to like that. That just, I don't know, it screams 70s to me even, with that green and tan and all of that. I try not to be a paper hoarder simply because I want to use what I buy. I tend to spend a lot more money on this kind of stuff that I know I'm going to use in a lot of different crafting ways than something, you know, I don't know, something that doesn't seem to translate to a lot of different crafting modes. Like I took a long time to buy the Take Your Pick tool because I was using one of my sewing awls, and I don't think I've got it over here, but it was just a long straight metal thing with like a tip on it like this that you use to help guide your fabric through when you sew. I used that, and it took me a while to buy this for this tip because my other one worked so well. And I still find myself using this more than this because I'm used to it. But on her Thursday restock, for some reason, I don't usually catch that one. I watch a lot of her Saturday stuff. Well, I watch it afterwards. I watch the replays or catch the replay. So, but thank y'all for hanging out with me. I didn't see Juju pop in. She's probably getting ready for her live. And I think Lori's maybe on her way back. Maybe we'll have her this week sometime. Your Take Your Pick tool was gifted because you refused to buy one. Yeah, I saw everybody using theirs, and I just kept thinking, I got a tool that'll do that. But eventually, I gave in. I think I don't know if I've said it or not, but I'm one of those kit nappers. Every once in a while, when they have a really good join special, I'll I'll sign up as a happy shopper or demonstrator or whatever you call it, and then I just let the account go because I don't intend to sell Stampin' Up. I just take advantage of the discounts while it's available, and then because I don't meet quota or anything, I just fall off. Um, so when I do those sign up specials, that's when I've gotten a few things that I wouldn't have normally bought. Uh, get them in the kits. I never did buy paper from Joanne. Our Joanne was another town over, so I didn't go there a whole lot, and I usually just went for yarn. So I never did get into their paper. But all right, y'all. I'm going to get cleaned up and clean my space up, get ready for tomorrow, and then head to bed and watch Miss Juju that's crafting on the back 40. So y'all have a great evening. I hope you enjoyed our little fun tonight. I hope you have a chance to be creative today. And as always, y'all be nice to people. Bye, folks.